So we just talked about Tyr and his newfound purpose and everything else. Could we be getting paladins for all races coming? Tyr rebels against the Titans. We did talk about this just now in Tyr's final words that he says during his little monologue after you finish the raid at the party of Emir Drasil. And it looks like we could be, in fact, getting paladins for all races. It does seem possible. Let's see what the truth teller Doran has to say.
So not even a speculation, a huge new tier storyline came out with about 10 different bits of dialogue, expansion of the Paladin Order that seems to be hegemonizing the Paladins into one thing, and very likely making all the Paladins available for all the races. As the NPCs say, soon Paladins all over Azeroth will join our order. Even more importantly, Tyr was actually resurrected. He talks about his relationship with the Titans. He may be a good guy, he may rebel against them together with us, and Elisande also seems to be alive as we go into Night's Hold. So is Blizzard really going to give us Night Elven, Orcish, Undead Paladins, and all the other races that don't have them soon? What is this new questline and what have we discovered so far? Did you know you can play WoW directly on your phone? Well, with this video sponsor, Awesome, you can control your PC with your phone
great,
completely
awesome.
free, and
Okay,
it is available
cool.
for Windows, iOS, and Android. It is super
I've never
easy to
used this
use.
before.
Use my link to download it, get the phone and the PC app, and just connect it. The free version is powerful as you can control your desktop, transfer files, but the game version is where it is at. It has custom keyboards for various games such as Warcraft, and you can enjoy AFK gaming.
By the way, I do
anytime,
think that we
anywhere
could get paladins
with
for all
actual
races.
game sound.
I'm not
Make
watching
sure
this
to
out of
use my
just pure
code DORAN to
speculation.
get 7 days completely free to try it out only for the first 200 people. They also got a smart plug to turn off your PC at any time, as well as hot sales with up to 40% off on Pro and Game versions. Check out Awesome.
Okay.
So
Good
none
ad.
of this
Okay,
race
here we
class
go.
restriction stuff is big news if you have been following what has been going on the past year or so, as on multiple occasions Blizzard has confirmed they plan to remove all the race class
Right.
restrictions, and at some point in time they just want to make all the classes available for all the races, which is going to happen a few years down the line. Now,
Here's one thing, though. We're never going to have Evoker, most likely, for other races. I can't really see that happening just because so many of the animations are very dragon-specific. I don't know. It'd be kind of weird. But could we see others getting other classes? I don't know if I ever want to see everybody get every class. I'll be honest. I kind of like some of the lore attachments for certain things. But I guess the more the races intermingle, everybody can learn to be a shaman. Everyone can learn to be a paladin. I guess it's possible, and if you write the lore that way. But I did kind of like some of the race restrictions. I'm not going to lie. I felt like it created a better story, more lore behind it. Yeah, everyone can be a DK. Yeah, because all you got to do to become a Death Knight is just die in a glorious battle, essentially, and then you're raised up. So, but a Drakthir DK? Oh, that's an interesting one. I hadn't even thought. A Drakthir DK. I guess you could, technically. You just have to be raised by the Lich King.
problem is how it is done.
Although,
As realistically,
who's the Lich
it
King
can
now?
be done with a lot of world
It's
building,
the Crown
a lot
of
of new
Wills.
story development, a lot of new
Garbage
characters
storyline.
and lore, or it can be rushed and just bunched together with one quest line, which kind of seems to be the case with this Paladin one if it really ends up the way it is hinted at right now.
Yeah, restoring the
in
Silver Hand,
context
we're gonna
of
do
what
that.
is going on, what is all this new info, there is a major, and I mean major, story development with Tyr in 10.2, as we are now reaching the end of the questline, or at least the major finale of the questline. As you may know, we've been
Yeah,
working
that's
on
definitely one. Demon Hunter should stay race locked. I agree. Demon Hunter should only be for elves. I totally agree with that. I think that's the only way to go with that. And Evoker. Those are probably the two that should stay with the races that they belong to.
building Tyr, getting his memories and everything since the start of Dragonflight, and now it has actually happened. We have legit resurrected Tyr. Many speculations were going on whether he would immediately turn on us, whether he would help us, or whether he would be a good guy, and at the moment it isn't 100% certain. It is heavily, and I mean heavily, leaning towards the side that he is going to be a good guy and that he might even turn against the Titans based on the dialogue that we had discovered, but it is too early to see for sure, as all we had really gotten was that he's completely dazed, shocked at how the entire world has changed since he was around,
Yeah,
and
everything's
he gave us
changed.
a few interesting dialogue lines that kind of hints at a few things. What happened?
Yeah, the dialogue lines are interesting, and I have them here. We talked about them, but Tyr basically goes through and he talks about how the aspects have regained their powers without my aid or the Titans. Our circumstances are similar, Keeper Tyr. This was Karanos. So Karanos is the stony boy from the cinematic. We were made to serve. I too have fulfilled my purpose. And then Kronos says, but this new world is vast and wondrous. Perhaps it will be enough for us to just observe and safeguard it. And then Tyr says, I have much to ponder. So they certainly believe that their purpose has been fulfilled. They're interested in how people have moved on without the Titans and what's going to happen next. I really think they're going to join our side and kind of continue on with us.
And 10.2 is that we travel to an alternate timeline and we had managed to recover the discs with his memories from Night's Cold, more like Elisande gave them to us. This is also a really interesting bit of story development, as with the alternate timelines and time travel, it is heavily hinted that we're going to be seeing Elisande in the very near future as well. However, we got the discs, Tyr awakens, and he is shocked what Azeroth even is. I mean, remember, he was gone for like thousands and thousands of years. He talks about how the old gods are no more, how the Dragon Isles he went to slumber and awakened, and how many of his old friends
are the old gods no more. Man, I'm still holding out the smallest sliver of hope that N'Zoth is not dead. I really hope that we did not kill N'Zoth with the beam of friendship. I really do. I feel like N'Zoth can be planning his shit. He implanted his little, thing on everybody. I feel like he's using us like Horcruxes, and there's pieces of N'Zoth running around everywhere, and he could still come back. That's my personal opinion. Probably just stupid-ass speculation and hopium. But yeah, that's how I see it.
He had died. He's also talking to Corenas, so finally the guy from the Dragonflight cinematic is relevant, and it is even hinted that Tyr may be able to reconstruct or resurrect some of the old Titan Watchers that we had lost over the years, so keep an eye out for that. Most of the dialogue talks about how he has much to ponder, how he needs time to think, and everything else, but we do have a few interesting dialogue options that give us big hints for the future. You can, of course, ask him about the Black Empire and the ancient battles, but most importantly, you can ask him about the Titans and his relationship to the Titans. Now, keep in mind, he could definitely be lying here. I mean, we've obviously caught Titan Keepers lying on more than a few occasions, so they're obviously not guaranteed to tell the truth.
Yeah, Odin's a dick. Let's just get it straight. Let's get that fact. Odin is a dick, and everything he says is a lie.
However, what is new lore and interesting is that he isn't exactly as in on the Titan plan as we had previously thought, meaning he isn't as close to the Titan Pantheon as we had previously believed. He, as a Titan being, says how they're genius and ever-knowing and all that, but he also says that he, as a keeper, doesn't really know what their end goal is. He can't really comprehend what they're truly...
Look, and Tyr, his situation is unique because Tyr, unlike the Titans who just sit on their fucking Pantheon all day jerking off, Tyr has interacted with the people of Azeroth his entire life, pretty much. Tyr has been down here, living with us, dealing with us, fighting side by side with us. So Tyr has developed like an attachment to the people of Azeroth and Azeroth herself. He's much closer to it than the Titans are, who just sit up in the sky doing their thing. And he personally, as a part from the Titans, he doesn't even interact with them at all. So Tyr's whole life, all he's known is Azeroth and the people of Azeroth. The Titans are just some foreign aspect to him, kind of like they are to us. So that's why I feel like his attachment to us is very different than the Titans.
And that they may be hiding something
Which is why I
from
think he's
him
going
as
to
well.
betray them.
Although he does say that he will serve them always. Styria is with us right now, talking with us. We got all these dialogue options. Everyone assumes that he is now a good guy and that because he didn't immediately attack us and that we will work with him forever. Realistically, all the hints are showing that he is at the moment on our side, but keep in mind, as the Titans return in the last Titan, which is going to be a few years from now, it is not out of the picture that he could pick them over us. It is also possible that over the years, he might learn too that the Titans haven't been...
There's an interesting thing about Tyr, King Julian, and the fact that he does in fact serve the Titans. This is true, but the one interesting thing is Tyr is exhibiting some aspects of free will and doubt. It's weird because, like humans and dwarves and the others, we are creations of the Titans, and we never had free will until we got the curse of flesh from the old gods. It was the old gods that essentially gave us free will in the game. So how Tyr is somewhat exhibiting some free will, I'm not sure. Maybe he's slightly corrupted. Maybe we'll find out that he's been touched by the old gods in some way, and it gives him the ability to break away from the Titans and their commands and stuff like that. It's an interesting thought that I think they will get deeper into the story, because Titan creations are not supposed to have free will. They're just supposed to obey the Titans' commands, and Tyr is kind of not doing that anymore.
as nice as he used to believe, but
Old
at
gods,
the
true.
moment
Well, they
it
are.
can really go either way. However,
We don't exist
it
without the
seems
old
like
gods in
Tyr
our current
is
form.
actually going to be a major character going forward, and he'll probably play a role in the War Within and the entire Chamber of the Azeroth's world, so he might know something that we don't. However, most interestingly, this storyline now leads us into the Paladins and the major setup they seem to be doing to remove the race class restrictions, and it is all of course connected to Tyr, most importantly Tyr's Guard, which is the main group behind this questline. To give you a super quick rundown on the lore, this is an ancient group of Rykel, later humans that served Tyr. They were very closely tied to the light. They was recently most relevant in the Legion invasion, and they was now instrumental in this entire process of resurrecting Tyr, so Tyr's God is a super big deal at the moment. Now, when I say that Paladins are coming to all races, I'm not just speculating out of nowhere. There are about 10 different dialogue lines from the new patch that very strongly hint at this happening. I'm not saying it is 100% confirmed. In 10.2 you'll be able to play a Night Elven Paladin, but let's take a look at what dialogues were given, and you can kind of judge.
But I don't know, I mean, Blizzard's been dropping like a lot of huge things that we would consider to be massive like content bites, and we don't even know about it until it happens. Like the retaking of Gilneas, they didn't mention it even at BlizzCon. So maybe they are working on Paladins for all races, and they're just keeping it a secret. They've been doing that lately, which I appreciate. I like it. I don't want to hear things that early. I want to see it when it happens. So maybe we get Paladins in 10.2.5. Blizzard did say that there is more to come. Basically, in a tweet, I think it was Taliesin and Evitel tweeted out, like, how did they keep Gilneas retaking a secret? And all these devs tweeted back talking about how there's more big things to come in the coming patches. So maybe we do. Maybe Paladins do happen.
First of all, thing to keep in mind is that the entire Tyr's Guard is a diverse group of independent Paladins. They used to be Rykel, but now they're mainly a human group led by Travert. However, they also got Blood Elves, Trolls, and Draenei within their
true,
ranks.
Augmentation did drop in a 0.5
cool
patch.
Tyrann humans that are not actually playable as Paladins. Also, Draenei are recent rivals to Azeroth in general, so them being a part of this is a hint as well. However, this is just a sign. So one of the NPCs says, for a group that Trevor pulled together, I wonder what the future holds for them. Then we got a bit of dialogue between two other NPCs. They talked about Tyr coming back, an incredible possibility. It's quite an exciting time to be a paladin. It is hard to even imagine what this could mean, how Tyr could change things.
Interesting.
Indeed, he could change everything. This, of course, strongly hints that this new order will be led by Tyr, and that these new paladins might be tied more
I wonder
to
if they're
this
going to
side.
use the Order Hall. Man, the Order Halls were awesome. They were. I wonder if they're going to use the Paladin Order Hall for some of this quest.
Other than pure light, because, you know, paladins worship a whole lot of things and they call themselves paladins, but if they come together with Tyr, it is going to be like this one universal thing. However, this isn't really that much. I mean, the biggest is the dialogue between the troll paladin Nolaki, who says that in the past she had followed the Loa Torkali, the Loa of Harvest, her whole life. She then refers to the Draenei, how he had followed the Prime Naru for even longer. Yet, even though they're of such different faiths and cultures, they have a great bond that comes from them following their brand new beliefs. Keep in mind, of course, this is a Zandalari troll. They actually do have paladins, which is also a recent addition to the game, so this isn't really that big of a hint, but this entire talk about how them, despite believing different things and being paladins in...
This fucking guy, this Dreadlord, man, this Dreadlord, I still don't trust his ass. I still don't trust his ass. He remember, Dreadlords have infiltrated everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's literally a Dreadlord his purpose was just to infiltrate the light. But I'm still very, skeptical on his purpose and why he's doing what he's doing.
In completely different ways, but they can still come together, is a strong
Sardonathrius has a plan.
Geminize them into one order. Now, of course, you may be thinking, I mean, this isn't really all that much at all. I mean, all of these are very slight hints at best. But then
Dreadlords are capable of anything, man. They literally they are everywhere. They are everywhere and in everything. So why wouldn't they try to infiltrate the light? They play the long game. Look at Sardonathrius. How long was he in the Shadowlands? Based on the lore, he's been there forever almost. So they could just sit, wait, and bide their time. It's very possible that's what he's doing.
hint that talks about the Order of the Tears God. Right now, there aren't many of us, so a headquarter isn't too important, but soon, I suspect Paladins from all over Azeroth will want to see what we're doing and possibly join our ranks. Now, I can't say this is a confirmation, but let's just say it is as close as we can get to it. I mean, they're essentially confirming that their order will expand and that other Paladins from all over Azeroth will be joining their order, which could mean that they could, of course, introduce Paladins to all the races just through the Tears God content, which is, of course, going to be hugely relevant in the World Soul Saga. Other than this, we also have a hint from the War Within as we're encountering these Arati humans.
By the way, Anduin. Is Anduin a priest or a paladin now? Because I feel like he's class changed a couple. He was a monk, it felt like, at one point, too, during Mists of Pandaria. What is he now? I want to say he's a paladin because of how he uses the light and he wields that giant, his dad's sword, and he wears plate armor. So I would say, yeah, now he's a paladin. But there was a time back when he was a priest. He dabbled in some monkness back when he was running around in Mists of Pandaria. But if I had to guess his class now, maybe he becomes very relevant to the paladins. Priest, paladin, and whiny.
These Arati humans that look like cool tyrants who are wielding the light as paladins. So I feel like this entire Arati Tears
I can't
God
wait to go to that
connection
zone.
is going to be a major part of the storyline in the War
No
Within,
light at the moment. Yeah, maybe he's a warrior.
With a massive crystal hanging out in the sky. And keep in mind, the Arati came from the same place as the original Tears God, plus Tyr could also be a connection between the light invasion that is going to help us against the Void in WoW Midnight. However, personally,
Hollow's Fall, I think
this
it's called or
is all
something.
that great. I mean, I'm not opposed to Paladins being playable for all the races, but if this is really the way it happens, I don't think it is really that great of an idea. I mean, I really feel like this is a lazy way to do it. The best they could do is more world building, more storytelling, plus potentially combining it with this order as well. But if Orc Paladins, for example, come just because they joined the Tears God, I can't really say that is really that great storytelling. I would personally like to see more development to Orcish culture, for example. Now, of course, when it comes to the Paladin races, the new potential Paladin races, some don't really need all that much development. I mean, for example, the Cult Tyrants, I'm honestly surprised they can't be Paladins anyway.
Yeah,
however,
I have thought
Cult
Tyrants would be Paladins a long time ago.
It may be a bit more tricky. Most important, the Orcs. I mean, in the past, the Paladins were literally created because the priests were too weak against the Orcs, so the human Paladins were used to fight the Orcs. However, with this new
there you go. I mean, that's priests becoming paladins. That's happened before, so I guess it makes sense that Anduin did it too. Yeah, you want to be a warrior so you can be badass like his dad? Yeah, I wish that too.
Development, I don't think this is too big of a problem.
Long live Varian.
Because that ship has kind of already sailed. I mean, we already have Orcish priests that wield the light, so there really isn't that much stopping them from just being paladins.
Putting on plate armor, yeah.
The fact that orcs can now be paladins because these priests had joined the new paladin order led by Tyr. Furthermore, we of course have the undead paladins, which are really a story in themselves as it goes against their very nature.
Essentially anyone that can be a priest should be able to be any race that can be a priest should be able to be a paladin. You've already wielded the light at that point. The only difference is now you're going to pick up a hammer and put on plate armor.
However, I also don't think this is really that big of an issue with all the recent changes. I mean, they got all this recent development, how they're now
they have orc priests,
they already wield the light as priests, so I think they can very easily introduce it, even though it is not exactly great lore. However, Night Elven Paladins could be super interesting. Personally, I would really want to see this happening through a Mirdrasil or a Lure,
that'd be cool.
More like being Night Paladins as opposed to Night Paladins. I think this in particular could be a great storyline, as these could be like the new protectors of the Night Elves, so that a new burning of Teldrassil never happens again. Although, if they do punch them up with Tyr's God, I feel like they're just going to miss a lot of potentially great storytelling. It is of course too early to say anything for sure, but based on this recent questline, you can expect Tyr to be a major character in the entire World Soul Saga, and I think we should be following him closely. Thank you for watching. Check out who are going to be the final boss of the World Soul Saga by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain by also clicking on the screen as well. See you next time. Yeah, good video. Yeah, I could see this happening, for sure. I just hope that they don't do it in a lazy way. I hope that, as they bring paladins to all races, that they do kind of what he described with the Night Elves. They like night paladins. Like, they make them very specific to each race. That would be awesome. And create some storylines that actually make sense rather than just saying, well, Tyr's here and he's just teaching everybody about the light. So there you go. Everyone's a paladin now. So hopefully they tie it in with the lore the right way.